Welcome back to the Bali Chronicles. Here we go again. I'm Dr. Brett Jones, and this is Sadie, and had a little bit to do an analysis with Sadie, and just hearing some of the things that she's been complaining about. If you want to actually tell them a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I mean, regular suspects, I guess, of like neck pain, lower back pain, and then like hip and joint issues that you were mentioning were systemic, probably inflammation, diet related.
So she mentioned she used to be a horseback rider, had built up, strong core, strong back muscles, which back muscles are part of the core, and now no longer does that. So those muscles that used to be very well built are now starting to atrophy. So they're starting to decrease in their muscle size, and that doesn't help support the spine, and then you end up with all these spine issues. But one of the triggers for me, when she talked about multiple pain sites, some people will start to call that fibromyalgia. But again, fibromyalgia is just a name for having multiple pain sites, right? It's not a condition, it's not a disease, it's a name that they diagnose with when you have multiple pain sites. What I find most often with people that are experiencing that is a few things. One, there's an imbalance within the nerve system, but also there's usually more of a systemic inflammation. Now, systemic inflammation, now you're talking more about just the chemistry of the blood and everything that just exists within our system. And when that's the case, it's usually nutrition. And so what type of foods are we eating? Because there are foods that are inflammatory, right? That's just gonna be mainly your sugars, anything that's related or breaks down to sugar, and your carbohydrates, and some other things that, if you have GMOs and things that have chemicals and whatever, that's just gonna constantly inflame the system. And there's things that are gonna be more anti-inflammatory. And so this is gonna be things like high dose omega-3s. So these are things that are more solid at room temperature. So your saturated fats, so like your ghee, or your grass-fed butter, or your organic coconut oil, and those types of things are actually going to help the inflammation in your system. And so as we transition to a certain diet, that's also going to help. But I watched her walk, and I also did the standing delay test, and what we find is a massively fixated right ilium. So I'm going to have you bring it over here, and see if you want to come on, just around my shoulder, and then you can walk towards me, and then walk the other way, and you'll see it focus in right on the right SI joint. And what you're seeing is it's elevated, but it also doesn't move very well.
And I have to
and that's where you get all the problems in the hip.
Yeah.
So she gets problems in the hip, and it's also because the SI joint is stuck. And so I'll bring you right up here, Sadie, and face away that way. And we're gonna watch this standing delays test again. So we'll find the PSIS. Let's see, sometimes it's better to use a flat hand. So right there, go ahead and lift the right leg up. So again, it slightly goes up, maybe 1 millimeter upwards, and then go to the left. And then not a lot of moves. Both of them are pretty stuck, but this one's extra dysfunctional because it actually moves up when it should move down. Okay, go ahead and lay out on your stomach. All right. Now, Sadie has said that you've been getting adjusted for a little while, huh? Okay. And you currently living in LA, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm getting a right long leg, and it's like that both when the feet are laying down on the table and as we bring them towards the glutes. And so we're going to check and see what that feels like. Check the entire system. Getting a lot of bulk up of tissue and of energy at this T1, T2, T3, T4. The T4 we're going to address when she's on her back. That's going to allow her to get her shoulder blades back better. The T1 we can adjust prone here, so I'm going to lay this down a little better for you. There you go. So this is a T1 PR. So I'm connecting right at the lateral border of the spinous process, and then looking for a nice window where we can continue to make a connection, and then fire it through. Woo! That was stuck, and it moved pretty decent. So the ilium is really drawn up and forward on this right side. So we're going to drop it back and down, and then we're also going to need to adjust the sacrum. So go this side up for me on your side, and face me this way.
It's sweating all over your table.
How are you doing so far?
I mean, I'm so excited.
Excited to get adjusted. All right. So bend this here. Sweet. And like this. Awesome. All right, so she's got a flexible system, and so what I find is flexible systems often get torqued out when doing these styles of adjusting, and that's not great for the system, because then that's when you can get muscle strain. And so what we have to do is compress into the tissue, and then I'm using my legs to support her leg to really create a counter compression. There we go. Other way for me.
All right.
Again, a little bit louder because the table. You know, we don't have our standard table. We have a portable table. And so it's a lot of noise, but you know, it's still comfortable. All right, so sacrum now on the inside border of the ilium. This is where actually we're gonna get better movement. There we go. And go back to your stomach. Oh, and actually, we are done. The table just broke. Yeah, we're good. We can come on up. We're gonna stop shooting. All right, so we needed to make an adjustment to what we're doing. We busted the table. Luckily, you know, if you get creative, you can do chiropractic anywhere. And so we're gonna go ahead and follow through with Sadie. We're in adjuster T4. So that was the next on the list. I've had that portable adjusting table for 8 years now. And so it's been retired in Bali, which is fun. It got to adjust a lot of people around the world, and there you go. So I love an anterior dorsal when the shoulders have a lot of round in them, because what you can do is you can cue the person to let the shoulders drop back. Right there. Perfect. Whew, that was a big one. Sweet. Now we can also adjust the neck here.
I'm gonna feel that.
Beautiful. And so again, we've adjusted the T1, P-R, or PR, and now is a C6. Whew. And now what I feel is there's a lot of tension at the base of their skull, so she needs a pull here. There we go. So that was
it.
Occiput releasing off of the atlas. Beautiful adjustment. We'll recheck the feet. We got balancing of the feet. Go ahead and stand on up. And we're going to do that standing delay test again. So you'll face away from us here. We'll see how the hips are moving now. Now that we busted the table to get them to move. So let's see how they move. Do this side. There we go. Got that 2 to 3 millimeters on that right side. Do the left. Beautiful. Hips are moving. Let's watch you walk one more time.
All right, where should I
go? Walk this way.
Okay.
Sweet. Got much more hip motion. How's it feel?
Feels good. Feels good.
You're still letting it sink in, huh?
Yeah.
That was a big adjustment. And so go ahead and face this way. So one of the things that I would continue to work with Sadie with continuous care is to continue to free this area up. And so where I felt the bulk of the tissue is right here. And often that's because the head generates forward, it puts more weight and pressure, and by putting more weight and pressure here, the system responds, it builds up more muscular tissue or connective tissue, all kinds of things, and it gets more stuck. And so we got the release there, we got the shoulders to drop back a little bit better, the SI joints are moving better. I'd say that's a good session. Thank you for being willing to adapt.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And we'll see y'all next time. Peace.